it's just so much cheaper to buy meat and produce from those
Mhm.
kinds of places like Randall's
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
Atkins and,
Yeah.
and Trader Joe's because I don't know why. You go to like Big Y and it's definitely like 10-20% more expensive
Oh,
for,
yeah, for sure.
good
Big
meat.
Y, Stop and Shop, all those
Yeah,
places
I don't know
like that.
why. It's
Yeah.
like
We run into that too.
It's
just
kind
weird.
of that idea, like I talked about, even like with the hair care and skin stuff.
Yeah.
It's mass production. Like it's so much. Like I feel like when you have to produce so much more
Yeah.
for a place
That's true.
versus like locally grown places where they can have that source of like income for their produce and
Yeah.
stuff. They can sell it cheaper.
And there's less regulations and it costs a lot less money to produce that. Like for instance,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm a big fan of buying organic, and when you're buying local, typically it's not organic, but it's not because it's not organic. It's because it costs a lot of money to get that seal. So the place I used to live a long time ago when I was a kid, I talked about it actually on Caleb's podcast, East Wind. They have their own peanut butter factory. I lived on like an egalitarian commune, but they're very hyper productive with
where Mike
production.
became a
And
man.
it's where I became a man. That's where I learned my ways, dodging copperheads and shit, and cigarette smoking piranhas.
Oh yeah.
But
Cigarette smoking piranhas.
and so they have now their very own organic peanut butter,
Wow.
right? But I had gone there recently as an adult years ago, maybe only 3 or 4 years ago, with a whole bunch of friends, and they were explaining to me, well, now when you sell something that's organic, you're succumb to the swabs, they call them. It's when the government comes in and sends somebody in to take swabs of everything to make sure that the organic is actually organic, which is fine. I mean, it's all due process. I understand there should always be a checks and balance system with everything.
Yep.
But that comes with a very big price.
Right.
So you can either just do what you do to produce that product, or you can get the stamp, you know what I mean, and produce the product with the fees. So
Right.
typically when you're buying these farm fresh stuff that's just as fresh as organic, it just may not have the seal because it costs a lot of money to have that seal.
Right.
And obviously then you have to be ready for all the regulations, which you might not be able to pass
Exactly.
based off of how you're running your facility or your farm.
It is weird how organics kind of just become like a word. I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, to your point.
It was so funny how that came about. Do you remember the transition between like people eating organic and not, and like this big stigma on how organic food was gross? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I had a
Yeah.
ton of friends who were like, "Oh, that's disgusting."
It's like it's like, what are you talking about? It's
I mean,
disgusting. If
I
anything, it's
never
more
understood.
fresher.
I always thought it tasted better usually.
Right.
Because the only thing that it meant is that the food was grown without pesticides.
Yep.
And so the basis and the push for all that is they took, a series of different trials with families who ate organic and did not eat organic. And the families who did not eat organic, they were taking urine samples. They had so many chemicals in their urine.
Wow.
Like it was
I
like
believe it.
I don't want to botch the numbers. You could, if you had the Google there, you could might be able to search like the difference between how many chemicals, but it was like an
Absurd
staggering
number,
amount.
yeah.
And then the people who were eating organic had very clean urine. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Comparatively.
Yep.
And so you have to wonder to yourself, well, what's that doing to your body long term?
Exactly. And I mean, even like with Monet, like my hair and skin stuff
I was
do.
gonna say, go into that.
It's the same thing we always preach about. So your scalp actually can absorb anything in 20 seconds. It absorbs stuff quicker than your hands and your other parts of your skin do. So we always talk about, people are so concerned about what they put in their body, even what they eat. Why wouldn't you be concerned about the stuff you put on your skin, you put in your hair, because you don't look at those things. It's stuff you're born into. You wake up and you wash your hair.
You don't think about that long-term effect.
No, exactly. You definitely don't.
I totally agree with you on that because I'm really a stickler when it comes to the kinds of things I wash my body with. I keep it super simple. I use like Dr. Bronner's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You ever see, it's just like peppermint. I use that to wash my body, wash my
You've been
hair.
using that for a long time, I feel like.
That's all I do.
Trader Joe's,
That's all I
right?
do. It's all organic. It costs a lot of money, but you can dilute it. So like one of those big bottles that costs like $20 or whatever. I mean, I guess it's not that expensive. I forget how much it is, $26 or something.
Think you're
But
right.
still, you can take a quarter of that bottle and fill up a whole nother bottle with that and water.
Yep.
And I just dilute it and wash down. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't know the difference, I guess, personally, because I've never used anything else for a long time.
Right.
But I could see the effects of like these different companies where you don't know what's going into them and you don't know how they're being made and they're not made for you. Like the stuff that you're saying, they don't take any of those factors into account.
No, they definitely don't. And like, A lot of it is like, so with companies that mass produce, they have to basically like fill those products, you know, because you're producing so much. You can't take the time to like be like, okay, we're going to put all these ingredients, you know, and really focus it. Whereas some of those companies, you know, they put like fillers, like it'll be, you know, 80% water and 20% product versus like 60% water and 40% product. Or even, you know, silicones and sulfates and all the stuff that they add into those.
Things that you don't even know
that
about.
you don't even
you
know.
wouldn't even think
and
about,
you just go to the grocery store and you're like, oh, I like the shampoo, you know, and you take it off the shelf and that's what you use and you don't know a difference because you've never known a difference, you know?
The things I look for is I look at the bottle, I see what it says, and I look at what like the scent is and I like smell it. I'm like, all right, it smells good. I'm not taking the time to like with my food where I'll look at the back of it and look what the ingredients are.
Right,
I can't even pronounce half of them, so I don't even know what's good and bad.
You'll be like, you know, oh, a sulfate.
It's like Sanskrit in the back.
That stuff.
You think about like when you know, you grew up in science class and they had all these, you know, you're like, okay, K is potassium, and that's like all you learned. You're like, okay, I know oxygen and potassium. So you like, you think about all these other elements, you're like, I don't know what that stuff is.
There's so much other stuff they put in.
We went, me and a few of the other guys had gone hiking up Mount Franconia Ridge, rather, Mount Lafayette and Little Haystack. So we all beforehand got some snacks at the not the grocery store, the gas station.
Ooh, those are the
gas
best
station
snacks. Those
bad
are the best snacks.
So no, honestly, the things that are packaged are probably better. But I got like a sandwich. I'm thinking, well, the sandwich, that's a healthy sandwich. Yeah. I'm eating it, and I have the wrapper in front of me. I look down at the wrapper, and the wrapper's got like, I kid you not, a fat paragraph. It was
like a story.
Turkey
short story.
It was a turkey wrap.
Yeah.
Right? It had turkey, cheese, lettuce, and that was in a wrap. This thing had like, I think it was 47 ingredients.
Holy moly.
Like, it couldn't just be like wheat, turkey, salt, and lettuce, and like cheese.
Yeah,
right.
No,
It gave you
all
this
these preservatives.
It gave you this entire list of things, and I even took a video of it, and I think I shared it at one point or another on Instagram.
All right, quick update. Pro tip. When you're buying something, read the label, all right? If you're a foolish chimp like me, you probably make the mistake, but I bought a sandwich.
You bought a science experiment for lunch.
Listen, there's chicken, to my knowledge, chicken, wheat, and some iceberg lettuce. Let's peep the ingredients list, shall we? Oh, look. It's the fucking New Testament. How many things do you have to put into a wheat tortilla, chicken, and iceberg lettuce? Too many, I guess. What the hell is this word? L-lysine? Does that say gum?
Yeah, and I was just like, oh my god. And I didn't eat. I ate like half of it and threw the rest in the woods. But I was just.
Oh yeah, because that's the thing. If it's processed, like I've noticed too, if you look at it, like then they dissect. Like that piece of cheese is probably processed. Right. So then you look at the ingredients, and then it's like dissected even further.
They're like milk.
This cheese has all this stuff. Yeah, and it's like you look at it, it's like oil and this and that, and it doesn't even probably have like what you expect.
And those long-term effects of some of those things, like you don't realize that you're trying when you eat. You should take into account that you're trying to keep a bacterial biome healthy inside of your body. That's how you think. That's how you feel. That's what
slugging kombucha.
It's what you do
all day.
Booch is the shit. I love kombucha. But
I tried. I can't get into it.
To like attribute that to like washing yourself. You know what I mean? There's a bacterial biome on your skin as well.
Yep.
And some people overdo it because of not only the stuff they're using, but how frequently they're bathing. I mean, it's like some people bathe like 3 times a day.
That's the thing too, is, you know, we talk about that too, is, you know, we back in the day, you think about it, like cavemen and like when they were running around, they weren't showering every day.
They didn't care if they had Old Spice or Head and Shoulders.
Not even cavemen. You like honestly 300 years ago.
Yeah, like even
the 1912, like the 1920s, they probably didn't care.
Early 1900s,
they had showers, but it wasn't. They didn't care.
It wasn't anything like we had. So we grew up in this society where like TV and people and marketing have like made us think that we need to shower like every day or 3 times a day or else you're gross, like you're disgusting. And that's not the thing. Like water, like like anything else, it dries out your skin if you think about it. You know, like you wash your hands and then you're like, oh my God.
Well, I've heard before, like, especially for longer hair, like, it's like you don't want to wash it every day. Like, you don't want to use shampoo on it every day. Like, you do want to take a break sometimes.
And that's the thing, too, is when you wash your hair, so your body naturally gives off oils, right? So your scalp, your skin naturally gives off these natural oils.
And they're very protective, more so than you might think.
They are. And the thing is when you wash, like even wash your hair, you're washing all those oils away. So you're actually like offsetting the balance, that natural balance that your body's supposed to like have. So like when people are like, oh, I'm so oily, and you're like, okay, how often do you wash? Like, I wash like twice a day. I shower every day. And you're like, okay, that's why. Because you're basically like, it's this circle of you feel oily, so you're washing because you feel oily. But the problem is that you're washing away your natural oils. So your body is overproducing. It's like trying to compensate for the oil that you don't have. And that's what's making you
That's
oily.
so crazy. It's like the body has like a series of micro environments